Um, so good evening. We're going to talk about the medicine wheel again tonight. I want to go back. I was going to take it out, but I want to talk about the medicine wheel as a map again because we're getting ready to make our medicine shields. So it's important really to go a little deeper on this subject. We in this group use the medicine wheel in our moon work, and we use it as a map, predominantly as a map for ourselves. And so I want to just talk a little bit more about that process and why I think it's so important. And I'll show you some cool medicine shield. Oh wait, that's the wrong one. I'll find my presentation. I'll show you some medicine shields that I found. But if you search them, I would search under the name of the nation and seal is easier. I mean, I would say for all intents and purposes, that's kind of the medicine wheel. The contemporary form of the medicine wheel for the tribe is the seal of the nation. It may have, I mean, it's hard to find any of the historical stuff. I mean, I had a really hard time finding what I was looking for if there was other types of medicine wheels. But one of the things, well, let's look at the shields first, and then so maybe I should have made them bigger, but I thought it was neat how much the land. I mean, I think this is kind of tells you about the, when all of them that we pretty much looked at, except for the man in the mace here, although this is an interesting symbol for
I have that one.
Yeah, that one's
cool. Down there. So yeah, that was
cool. Okay, cool. Yeah, so you've seen that for the symbol. Yeah, and so it's interesting how important the land, you know what I mean, like for the seal, right? The land is obviously the important element, in the Seminole. I looked in Florida because I had heard that there was a Florida medicine wheel like you on Cape Cod, that there was a Florida wheel that was like 3 kinds of blue and then a green because they were inscribed by water on all sides. Right. And then green maybe would be in the north, I'm guessing. So I looked up some Florida tribes and I found this Seminole, but I looked up the Seminole, which live in Florida, right. But this was the Oklahoma one.
Ones that were moved to Oklahoma.
Yeah.
The Navajo nation, yeah.
Yeah, I think the Navajo, oops, sorry, let me go back. The Navajo one's pretty, I can't zoom in on it. You have this, I think corn. I think I showed you guys this one before, yeah. But then, you've got the blue peak and the black peak and the yellow peak and the white peak. And then these 3 animals, which I thought was like horse and cow and maybe, they do a lot of sheep and, wool. Yeah. So it kind of like what your crops are, what your, the Navajo Nation is definitely inscribed by 4 mountain peaks. Yeah. And, so this one is very map-like, I think, or medicine wheel-like. Putting the sun in the north is very beautiful. And then I think this New Mexico one is also really interesting because it has like a basket. It's kind of got a basket design, but then has
interesting.
Again,
oil wells.
An oil well, right? And then the animals that they farm, and some interesting other symbol. I thought that was interesting. And then I like this Yavapai Apache one. I've seen this one. Okay, Yavapai Apache Nation, is really close, or like that's really, really close to where we are.
Yeah, that's you and Prescott.
Yeah, exactly. So, and on this one, I think it's really lovely with the feathers, and I don't totally know what these symbols with the yellow, the flower looking ones, but I like this butte and the rainbow. This is a really lovely, I don't know. And then I went to something last year on the Gila River, Nation, and they had another. Oh, I thought I found another one. I did find another one I could show you. This was the one for the seal for the nation, but again has the land and the mountains there and the sun.
And all the Cactus, yeah, the two.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah. But the other one, let me actually stop sharing and then I'll reshare the screen. There was another one I found, which I thought, I mean, from the Gila Nation, but it was for
oh, what's the
let's see if we
star?
can. Oh, let me see if I can open it. Yeah, it's like I thought, oh, this is a really cool one, but it was for the Department of Environmental Quality. So I was like, I don't know if that one counts or not, but I thought this was a neat one because it had the man in the maze, which is obviously
Oh,
big
yeah.
down there. And maybe that's like a hawk or an eagle. And then the water. I just thought that was a really neat symbol.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was cool. So, but I probably didn't include it because it wasn't like a tribal seal. That's probably why
Right.
I decided to skip it. But anyway, I thought it was neat. Oh, and I thought the points, because it's got these 8 points, kind of an allusion to the medicine wheel, right? With
Yeah.
these 8, these, kind of 4 main directions and then these sub
So
points.
it's got like the 8 houses.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So let me get
That's
back
cool.
to my, yeah, I thought they were cool. So, I mean, that was just a few of them. I mean, I don't know there's a lot more tribes in the US.
Oh, yeah.
To look up to get inspiration, but the ones, obviously I'm in Arizona, so I relate to the ones around here. And then I was I'm glad you said Wampanoag again, because I was like, oh yeah, I'd wanted to look that up and see what theirs was like. And to see all this desert imagery, right? And then I need to switch it out and should put the Wampanoag one with the sea turtle, that's so right. That's so indicative, right? You got horses and cattle here, and then you got one that's got a sea turtle. That's really tells you how connected, I think, how important the land is and the environment. And it's part of the wheel, right? It's part of the wheel. It's part of the reality that people live in, right? So I think that's, for me, that's an important reminder. What is our, what are the symbols? Okay, they're not there anymore, but there was, in this Red Rock Cliff on the east, there was a hawk that lived up in the rocks. And I found a dead hawk like a couple months ago. It was really heartbreaking, and I think it it ate something that had rat poison. So I think it got, because shortly after finding this dead hawk, I heard that somebody was poisoning rats in a close by little neighborhood, and it had killed a few dogs. And I think that's because I found this hawk and it had its talons out and it looked like it was flying, and it was just like, I was like, oh, it was so sad. Anyway, so my beautiful hawk that was communicating with is missing, and the other one, I don't know where the second one was, or the kid. Anyway, like that would be something where, like, that's if I'm like really getting in touch with the land, like, right, the hawk lives in the east, and I see coyotes maybe to the north, or I also see bobcats occasionally, and I don't know, I'm just thinking the animals, but like, we see javelinas and deer, but also, because the creek is south, there's a lot of greenery. And like, if I look southward, if I looked at the colors, red to the east, but green to the south. And then I'd have to really go look outside and see it's changing on the west here. And so kind of just get a feel for, I mean, this is kind of a way to like get your place in the world, right? To think through the medicine, how the medicine wheel is so connected to your place and where you're at. And anyway, so, and to describe, maybe if you were showing your wheel to another nation, or your shield or your seal, what would they think, what could they interpolate from you, right? Like, especially looking at these other shields, they tell you a difference, they tell, especially like Navajo Nation compared to the New Mexico one. It's like, oh, okay, these are slightly different industries, it's anyway, so you got the idea of that. But I also think it's important. I'm going to go through the levels of the temple and the medicine wheel and this idea of a map, because I would say, I mean, it feels like I made a creative decision to use the medicine wheel with the moon work, with the moon cycle, but I feel like I was guided to do it. I feel like that was like I was guided by my spirit guides to combine the medicine wheel with the moon work, because the medicine wheel is such a, I don't know, dynamic system, you know, and it can be applied in a lot of different, as we've seen over the last few weeks, it can be applied in so many different ways, but ultimately it is a map, and we've talked, you know, we've talked about the, right? It's a map, you know, it's a literal map of your location in some ways, you know, maybe not the way we think of a map, like a literal map, but like there is this like sense of like you're in this location.
Yeah.
It's a cosmological map, you know, it's a map of the self. There's so many, you know, it's a map of time, you know, we looked at, you know, how the Saturn cycle, it works on there. It's a map of the seasons, you know, if you want to call that a map, but you know,
Can
it's
you
such a,
make this smaller? It's really big, so I can't read all the words.
oh, okay. The
It's like,
image,
yeah, the image is um
okay.
like all I can see is the part. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So the
Sorry about
seals
that.
are they edit, everything is really big, so I can only see one seal at a time on my screen.
Oh, weird. Oh, I get it. I think I must have zoomed in. I wonder how, okay. If I
So
go, is
yeah,
it making it smaller?
no,
Oh, okay. I
not yet.
wonder how, okay. Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can, so it's, you're not seeing the whole screen. You're not, you're
No,
just
I'm
seeing
just seeing
like,
what. Yeah.
okay, I wonder what I did. Okay. Okay, hold on. Oh, okay. Let me pause my recording so that I can see it, start the video and then start sharing again. We'll see if it works this time.
Okay.
Does it look normal now?
No,
It's still big?
it's really big. Yeah.
Oh, huh. Okay. I see
Oh
it
wait,
as
did
regular.
I do something? Hold on.
Oh,
It's me.
okay.
I did it.
Oh, okay. I have
Oh
to
my
finish
God. I have control of that. That is
it.
hysterical. Oh
Okay,
my God.
good. I'm glad it's you, because I was like, I don't have any idea, because I'm seeing it regular. And I'm
I
like,
should have known it was me.
yeah.
Okay, you're good. Thank you.
Sure.
I didn't know it was so powerful. There, now I
No problem. You are powerful. um,
can.
so
Nice.
like I say, I was really guided, I think, to use, you know, when I learned about seeding my dreams, I was really guided to use the medicine wheel, I think. Or it was like, I was like, what kind of tool can I use to like put this, you know, use as a container? But I do think ultimately I was guided for that. But so thank you, guides. But one of the things that I've seen writing the book and also over the years is that because it's a map, right, it gives me orientation, right? You know, when we seed our dreams in the moon wheel, in the medicine wheel at the beginning of the month at the new moon, we're saying where we want to go, right? Because usually we're seeding stuff. Sometimes I seed stuff that already exists, but we're seeding stuff we want to create or places we want to go, or, you know, like more spiritually, I guess, but, you know, not, maybe not physically. And then in the full moon, you know, in the full moon, we, you know, write down what's happening. So we're really kind of making a map of where we're at as far as where we're on our journey of where we're going. We're making a map of where we're at on the full moon. And so I think that's interesting, right? If you want to go somewhere, right, with a GPS, right, you have to know both. You have to know where you're at and where you're going in order to figure out the route, right? So
How to get there. Right.
right. So it's interesting to use, you know, that we use, right? I think it's interesting. So I consider this, if you will, spiritual orientation, or, you know, whatever, personal orientation. But I think that's really important, right? Because otherwise right, if we didn't know where we wanted to go,
Right.
we might not get there, right? We won't get there, right? I don't know. There's some good sayings about that. But if you don't know, you know, you don't know where you want to go, you don't go anywhere or whatever. I don't know. But And then also knowing where you're at is important, I think, too. Using, knowing where you're at with the full moon is important part of like figuring out how you're going to keep moving forward. Right? Because so we're constantly kind of in the moon work in this interplay between setting course for where we're going and then also checking in with ourselves on where, where we're at on that journey. And then maybe even changing our course. That's the last quarter is about adjusting our course. And the first quarter is really about taking, moving in that direction, moving in the direction of where we want to go. Okay, so there's the shields. Can you see all the shields now?
Yes.
Oh, okay, cool. Did you want to look at them again, Fred, all, or did you get to see them?
No, well, I got to see them all big, which was cool.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay, cool. Okay, that's good because they're really lovely.
Yeah.
Oh, let's see what happens. So this is we know that that the medicine wheel is it could be a literal map, or we think of these seals as kind of, maybe it's not a literal map the way we think of a map, but it's a wheel describing the geographical region. And I think it's important. This is something I have a friend, a DNA friend, who told me, she think of the Navajo Nation as the Hogan. And she said there's 6 directions in the Hogan. There's well, if you go by like clockwise from the east, there's east, south, west, and north, above and below. And that you're right, the 7th point, right, is you. If you think about being in the center of the Hogan, you're the 7th point, right? And that's, if you were to go somewhere, if you were to chart, right, I don't know if you've seen Stargate or whatever, right? Don't they have to have the 7 points of where you're going to go or whatever, and also the point where you start, right? That's where you originate. So that would be the full, right? So you have your 7 or 8 points total to figure out where you are in space, and also the point of, from where the origin point, if that makes sense. Yeah. So there's like this kind of the deep esoteric elements of the, right? When we pray the wheel, right? I say grandmother earth, grandfather sky, power of the, right? I'm calling in those directions to center myself, as I move through this journey of the prayer. Okay, so the symbolic, so that was kind of the literal. I'm just kind of giving you the literal picture. The symbolic, right? We use this is how we use it in one way on the moon work. We use it as a symbolic map of the self, right? And when you see the shields, right? Those shields are symbolic maps also, right? They're symbolic of the community, of the maybe industry of that community, of what animals they relate to, what are the plant life, and the medicine wheel is symbolic of the cosmos, the seasons, time, the community. And so I kind of said this already, but the new moon wheel, we're making a map for our dreams and desires. Full moon, we're figuring out where we're at on that journey. And in the first quarter, we're moving towards those dreams, right? We're kind of like, okay, this is where we're going. In the last quarter, we have the opportunity to adjust course, because it's like, well, we'd said we want to go here. This is what happened. And now we're like, do we fix it? Do we change it? Or what needs to change in order to get to keep going forward on that journey? Okay. There's a paradoxical level. I don't know if you see what you see, but there's a paradoxical level. I think the moon work is paradoxical. Maybe that's just me, but paradoxical meaning irrational. Like once you start engaging in this process of delving into yourself and doing this moon process, it's a really, especially maybe because the medicine wheel is symbolic of the self. I think we are really on a paradoxical journey to see the self, and you know, like Haymaster Storm said, you know, the medicine wheel is a mirror, or the way that they conceive of it, of the world around them, is as a mirror. And you know, mirroring is a paradoxical thing, like how you understand yourself by looking like in a mirror, or looking at someone else and seeing yourself, you know, and you're kind of using them as a mirror or whatever. So there is a paradoxical level, which in terms of the levels of the Egyptian temple, the paradoxical one is the is the hard one, right? Because that's where we take ourselves on, is in the paradoxical level.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think the moon work is somewhat I mean, if you go deep enough, which you have, into the moon work, it's paradoxical in nature. And then there's the creative level of, you know, of the medicine wheel, which it's also, right, all these levels exist in the work that we do. You know, we really, hopefully, I mean, I think, not hopefully, but I feel like we are really working with whatever great spirit, the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, when we seed our dreams and we work with the moon. And when we work with the medicine wheel, right, it's a very spiritual system. And you know, we have our rituals of making the moon. But I also think, you know, when and this comes to the shield, the part of making a shield or a seal for ourselves, let's say shield, medicine shield, you know, we're really, when we engage in our own creative act, I do think we're participating with the creator, right? I mean, anything we do is creative on some level, but like when we get to enjoy it, and like those pictures you showed me with the different shapes, and I love that. Right, we're playing with that creativity. We are engaging with the creator in our creativity, and I really think. Well, I mean, I think we experience the mystery on the creative level of the temple, obviously, but we also, in this creative act of, you know, writing, you know, drawing and writing our dreams and singing our dreams, right, and then kind of moving in the direction and then seeing where we're at, and this whole cyclical process, we're experiencing the mystery of great spirit, of our lives and great spirit. And then, okay, so I left this in. I mean, I'm going to pray the wheel, but I also want to think of, like, so I showed you kind of the shield as one way of thinking of it as a map, but I also think the way we pray the wheel, right? I pray the wheel almost every day. Hopefully, I mean, when I can every day, and if I don't do it for a couple days, I'm like, wait, what's going on? I get lost. I get totally lost. So I do pray the wheel for orientation and centering and balance, but often for direction, right? Like, I'm like, what am I doing today? And what, you know, where was I going? And, you know, I need help with this, or I need to find that. So I think this is a really important way to interact with getting the orientation out. You know, praying the wheel is a good way, or using the lodges to figure something out is a good way to get reoriented, right? Reoriented really to spirit, right? Oriented to our spiritual calling, or whatever you want to call that. That's the medicine wheel. Prayer is really helpful for that. So I will pray it. I mean, you probably feel it. Do you feel that when I pray it, like how it orients? I mean, It's a great tool for that. It's a great system for that. So that's all. That was on my talk on the. I mean, some of this you know, so I mean, because you guys know this from doing the moon work, but I wanted to reiterate it because I think it's important when we make our shields to kind of see the shields, but also remember how right about this this literal orientation, symbolic orientation, paradoxical orientation, which would be disorientation perhaps, and then, you know, this creative, right, spiritual orientation. Okay, well, I'll leave this on while I pray. Do you have any questions or any prayer requests, or questions, comments, prayer requests?
I would like to, I think, feel more at ease in my um, body and my physical
Okay,
being. I think
okay,
I feel dis-ease.
okay,
I think I just, yeah, to feel more at ease.
okay.
And part of that I think is patience for just um to be able to just be, right? Everything is good, just be,
Oh, okay, okay,
right?
okay.
You
To
see what
kind
I
of
mean?
relax,
Right. It's like
surrender.
everything's
Okay.
fine. And I do, and I'm grateful every day, and I thank the grandmothers for all the wonderful things. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Okay. Well, that's a great prayer. I mean, it's funny because you said that and I was like, oh yeah. I mean, every time you make a prayer request, I feel that way. I'm like, yes, I would like that too. I'd like to feel at ease because I have a similar sense of like the other shoe's gonna fall or
Something weird.
like
Yeah.
I need to be afraid, I'm in urgency or anxiety about something, and I'd like to feel at ease. I like the idea of feeling at ease and rested, relaxed, like you go with the flow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna move my table up. Like I say, I'm keeping the fight on just so you can. I'm hoping that by doing this every week, it makes it easier if you guys want to pray. If you want practice praying the
Yes.
wheel. Yeah, if you do, yeah. Grandmother Earth, Grandfather Sky, power of the four directions, all of our ancestors, we send a voice. Grandmother, grandfather, please, we ask for your help to have more ease, to feel more ease in our bodies. We are at peace with this request. We are at peace with being on this healing journey. We are at peace with the growth and the work that we are doing. And we need help to be at peace with our bodies, God, Great Spirit, and help to feel the peace in our bodies. Please help us to be in innocence and to relax those patterns that perhaps just come up that bring that feeling of dis-ease and uncomfortableness, or that just not being able to relax or let down. We ask for your help, God, Great Spirit, in letting those old patterns go, and whatever it is that is like agitating us or disrupting us or creating that unease or dis-ease, please help us let that go at this time and help us gather and feel that ease in our body, feel the ease of surrendering, feel the ease of letting go and letting God, feel the ease of just being taken care of by a great spirit. Thank you, God, Great Spirit, for your love, for your support. We feel you wrapped around us. Help us to hunt and gather that letting go. Help us hunt and gather perhaps a ritual for creating that feeling of comfort and letting go. Help us hunt and gather that ease that we are seeking so that we can feel comfortable and grateful and light and easy in our bodies. We take a vow, God, Great Spirit, to work on creating that feeling of ease in our bodies so that we can get used to feeling it. Grandmother Earth, Grandfather Sky, please help us feel ease in our bodies. Help us to relax, help us to let go, whatever that is that's causing that agitation, We are at peace with this request. We are at peace with the growth and the healing. We are at peace with asking for your help. Help us to create that ease and I don't know if it's like silence or quiet or rest in our bodies. Help us have that innocence and the restoration to feel that ease in our bodies. Grandmother, grandfather, it seems to me it's like a pattern, God, Great Spirit, that there's a pattern of perhaps, I don't know, fear or maybe habit pattern of like doing, and there's patterns that we learn throughout our lives, throughout our family and in our society that create this restlessness and perhaps that is part, this discomfort or dis-ease that's maybe part of this time period we're going through, but we're asking for your help, God, Great Spirit, to, let these patterns go and to relax and to have ease. Thank you, God, Great Spirit. I was reminded to breathe and to relax and to open my heart. Help us to hunt and gather that conscious breath. Help us hunt and gather trust and faith in the universe. Help us hunt and gather that feeling of ease in our bodies, however that we can feel that. We take a vow, God, Great Spirit, to when we feel that discomfort and that agitation, to remember to breathe and to relax. Grandmother Earth, Grandfather Sky, please help us. We are humbly asking and really needing a feeling of ease. We are at peace with this request. We are at peace with the fact that we are on a healing journey. We are at peace with needing help and surrendering to you, Great Spirit. Help us to take the actions needed and fight in order to fight whatever the enemy within is that is causing this unease, this dis-ease, this agitation, this discomfort. Grandmother, grandfather, help us to cultivate maybe that inner silence, or the ease and the comfort of like not needing to do anything, not needing to be productive, not needing to, not needing to worry about anything. I know that I have had a lot of fears and worries and anxieties throughout my life that have caused me majorly to have a really difficult time to slow down and to allow myself to relax and rejuvenate and recreate. So please help us hunt and gather that rest. Help us, sorry, I missed a beat. Help us hunt and gather that rest and rejuvenation, and help us to let go of this, whatever it is that is keeping us from ease in our bodies. Thank you for your support and your love and your guidance, Great Spirit. Help us to hunt and gather that feeling of ease. Help us hunt and gather that inner silence. Help us hunt and gather the relaxation and the recreation. Help us hunt and gather surrendering this old pattern of dis-ease and discomfort. We take a vow, God, Great Spirit, to let go and let God, and to let go as best we can of this old pattern, so that we can be at greater and greater ease for the sake of the children and the children's children, until the sun no longer sets and the moon no longer rises. Aho! So one of the things, okay, because one of the things I've been doing, because I have a hard time with this too, that came to me in the prayer was, I don't know if you want to do this with water, but there's different ways to do this. Sorry, I'm gonna raise my head. Um, I haven't done it in a couple days because it's gotten a little cooler here, but like jump in the creek or the pond or pool or whatever, and I just float. And it's like once I'm in the water and I feel weightless, it like takes all the pressure off my body. It's like kind of like a ritualistic act of like surrendering, like I just float and then I try to let go, right? I try to relax every muscle and just like float on the water and feel that feeling of being cradled, by God, or whatever God or whatever you want to call it. But I also do that sometimes when I'm really stressed out. I will often like just lay down in the desert, like maybe you want to go in the water, but maybe you want to go lay in the sand at the beach or in your garden or whatever. Like I'll just like lay down because again, it takes that pressure off my body and I can just kind of like let go and surrender and breathe. So when I said the ritual part, that's kind of what flashed in my head, like finding something that you enjoy that makes you feel that comfort and kind of breathe into it, like let it go. Like you say, I like to do it both in the water and in the desert. Like I'll just like lay in a creek bed or whatever, you know what I mean? And I just like, I do like sand too, you know what I mean? I don't mind the rocks, but I really like to lay in the sand and like just kind of like sink into it and like just be like, okay, I'm letting all of it go. I'm letting the earth
It's
envelop
funny,
me.
Anna does that a lot. Like she'll take naps outside and everything
Yeah.
to ground herself. And I do that like when I feel like, oh, I have these big stepping stones that are like rocks.
Yeah.
Um, like my front step is a rock.
Yeah.
So it's cool. So I stand on those. But that's different. That's like feeling the earth and the strength from the earth. It's not
Yeah.
letting go.
It's not
So
letting go. Exactly.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
different to just lay that. Well, it's funny because I have like a chaise lounge, that
Yeah.
I haven't even gotten out of the shed for the summer. But it's almost too hot to lay outside. Now it's
Oh,
nice.
right
Now
now
it's like
you
in the
could get it out.
70s. So now it's the time to lay outside.
Yeah.
They say that the fall is the best time at Cape Cod. It's the second summer,
Oh, I
The
bet it's so
water's
lovely.
warm,
Yeah.
but the air's not so hot. That I just need to lie down outside. I'm like, well, why don't you just do that?
Yeah, lay down outside or get your shades, lounge out now and like
Yeah.
just get that feeling. Like I have to remind myself, okay, stop going in circles in my head, stop the anxiety, stop the whatever, and just
Yeah.
lay down and surrender or ask for help. I heard some other woman's
Yeah.
video and she said ask for help to surrender. Like I'll just be like, I want to
Yes.
surrender, please help me surrender. And like do whatever you can, like do the thing where you breathe through your body and you feel every muscle relaxing. Right, if you can and you're not in, I don't know if I do that in the water. Like usually I just
Yeah.
in the
But you
water I can kind of get to the point where I'm like, okay, I'm
can
just like
relax.
relaxed.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I just love that
But the
weightlessness.
sand, the
Yeah,
grass, the What's
yeah.
fun is I've been picturing myself in the winter outside on that chaise lounge, like all wrapped up in quilts and stuff. And I'm like, well,
Oh, that
maybe you
sounds
can get it
nice.
out so you can do
Yeah,
that.
get the chaise lounge up. But I mean, I'm gonna do it more now that I prayed this. I'm gonna try it more because it was really helping me. Like I would go on my hike and I'd be hot, and then I'd jump in the pond and I would like do that, and I'd just be like, I
Yeah.
surrender, and then I would feel my body, and I'd still feel the tension, and I would like relax another layer. I surrender, and then relax. Get it to the point where I'm like, okay, I'm really floating, and I'm not. There's no tension, and I'm not
Yeah.
struggling like just to get the feeling of it, right? Because I'm sure, we both worked really hard. Like I don't know if it's from work. I don't know if it's from childhood. Like, it doesn't really matter. The point is we want to be able to feel that ease that you're talking about and
And
reveal, relax. Yeah.
there's really reason for me not to. right now. Do you know what I mean? That's the thing that's so
Yeah.
crazy. It's like, no, you have enough money, whatever, you're working part-time, it's fun, everybody loves you, you love everybody there.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the issue? Like, what the kids are fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
What's your problem?
Yeah.
What
This
is
would
your
be a good
problem?
thing. Oh, it's kind of late. It's going to be kind of late there, the eclipse, but like maybe on the eclipse is tomorrow evening around 10:30 your time.
Yeah.
That'd be a good thing to let go with this eclipse moon tomorrow, or maybe on Wednesday morning for you. Like just do a little prayer of letting go of whatever it is that's like causing this. I don't know, agitation was the best word I could come up
Yeah.
with.
I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
that's good. Yeah. And it's just that peace,
yeah,
being at peace and finding peacefulness. It's
yeah.
very interesting.
It's
It's very
interesting.
interesting. It's like this always, it's our society and it's, how I was raised and how a lot of people were and still are raised.
I think so.
So
I mean, yeah,